Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Steam sale. It is actually the 27th, and there are some really good deals once again. I've got to say that I'm actually pretty impressed with this Steam sale. Last one was a bit pants. This one's starting off really strong, and so far staying pretty strong. Anyway, I digress. I digress quite heavily. Let's begin, shall we? Let us talk about the deals and how one can make your own wallet cry. So I'm going to begin with, well, why not really, Bioshock Infinite. There's actually a couple of options on this, and one is the Bioshock Infinite and one is the Season Pass. So it's 75% off for Bioshock Infinite and 70% off for the Season Pass bundle. So $7.49, this is dollar prices, or if you're paying in pounds, you're going to be looking at, and suddenly the Steam page is deciding, nope, it doesn't want to load, it's had enough. You're going to be looking at £5. So this one's actually a bit tricky, and I'll tell you why. First of all, Bioshock Infinite is a really good deal with this price. I've covered it quite in depth on the channel. The reason I say it's a bit tricky is because the only pieces of DLC that are really worth it are the Burial at Sea. But Burial at Sea is currently available for basically $15 if you buy both pieces, if you're not buying the Season Pass, right? The problem with this deal is that, to be totally blunt with you, Burial at Sea is really short. I'm saying it's a good game, and it will finish the Bioshock story, but it's just really damn short, which is a crying shame. And I can understand, it basically got quite a lot of people pissed. I would recommend the base game at the least. Whether you want to spend the extra, what is it, basically the extra $7.49 for the Season Pass content, it's up to you. I think it's a pretty good deal, quite honestly, but obviously, the real decision, of course, is your own. Anyway, WolfenStein, The New Order. It's actually a pretty good deal. 66% off. That's $11.89 if you're paying in pounds, or $20. Sorry, $20.39 if you're paying with dollars. Really good PC port. Runs extremely well. It's actually really smooth on even consoles. Graphically, it's quite nice. Really good for single-player campaign. If you're interested in like an older school FPS, it's really nice. There is some problems I have with it. The way mostly you pick up weapons can be a bit of a pain in the buttocks. But it's really fun. It's a bit silly. It's a bit shooty. And personally speaking, I'd highly recommend it. So go ahead. Payday 2. So it's available $7.49 in dollars. Or if you're paying in pounds, you're going to be looking at $5.74. This one, I believe, actually has a demo. Let me just double check that. I'm almost positive that it does. Yes, it does indeed have a demo. You can also buy a 4-pack of this as well. Here's the deal with this one. If you can find other people to play it with, it's a really good suggestion to kind of get for Christmas or buy with other friends. If you can't, at the very least, try out the demo. It's really fun. So, yeah, just try out the demo. That's my recommendation if you're looking for a bit of multiplayer mayhem. The idea, of course, is that you are effectively trying to rob a bank and you're working in cooperation to do that. It's really generous, actually, in terms of the amount of content you get, and for the price, well worth it. Well worth it, in my personal opinion. Anyway, next one, Kerbal's Space Program. So this one's 40% off, which isn't the greatest deal in the history of mankind, but it still means it's $13.79. That's if you're paying in dollars. If you're paying in pounds, $18 if you're paying in US dollars. If you're interested in basically running NASA, if that's your fantasy, then go ahead. Basically, the idea is you're creating a space program, you're managing a space station, and so forth. It's a pretty cool game. It scores very well. It's fun. It's pretty in depth. It's early access at the moment, meaning that content is going to be growing, but user reviews are very positive. Professional critique, and I use it in such a term because I don't really know if you can have a professional reviewer in many ways, but there's also a demo of this, so it just stands to reason you should at least check it out. Pretty nice to have a demo, must say. You might have noticed I'm doing this in no real order. Shadow of Mordor. This one costs you £20. Or if you're paying in dollars, it's going to cost you $33.49. Shadow of Mordor. Oh, by the way, this does not support the Japanese language, just for your FYI. So, here's the deal with Shadow of Mordor. The storyline and so forth is nothing particularly special. The combat isn't amazing. Basically, if you've played Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, those type of games, you're going to be pretty much familiar. Dodge, dodge, counter, punch, 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 dodge, counter, punch, with a few additional extras in the combat. Now, this one really made waves, primarily because of the way they treated the whole review embargo situation, and the fact that they were actually blocking certain websites for review, and they were being really overcritical. Total Biscuit, as well as some other really influential people in the media, spoke out about this, and quite frankly, I think the way they treated customers in many ways was actually quite taking the piss, and so, in that respect, I kind of don't support them. But the game itself is really good. So, it's like, I think the game's good, and it really didn't make sense with their whole censorship of the reviews. I mean, they were actually, I mean, you can Google this yourself, they were actually making YouTubers and other news outlets actually pretty much sign documents, and they're actually checking all videos and not allowing like those videos to show bugs, which I personally think is absolutely ridiculous and not really the direction that one would expect. But as I said, it's actually ironic because the game itself is pretty good. It's maybe not Lord of the Rings as you would expect, but it's a fun game, worth checking out if you're interested in this type of thing. The price is pretty good as well. Anyway, next game is Rome 2. So Rome 2, there's a couple of different ways you can go with this. You can buy the Rome 2 collection, sorry, Rome 2, which is just, what is it, $7.49 if you're paying in pounds. If you be paying in dollars, you're going to be paying actually quite a bit. It's actually considerably more expensive than I would have thought. It's actually $14.98, which is actually weird. As Brits usually get considerably the worst deal, but no, Americans do for some reason on this one. Mostly positive. That's how most people will describe this game in terms of the look, and it plays pretty well. When the game was first released, there were a hell of a lot of bugs with War 2, but a lot of them have been ironed out. So if you're interested in like massive armies and conquering like large battlefields, you could definitely do worse. The fact of the matter is, as well, it's a fun game. It can have some bugs. A lot of them have been ironed out, but the Total War series as a whole is pretty solid. Now is a good time to pick it up, to be quite blunt, because now most of the bugs that were around at launch have been resolved. And if you're looking for a fairly solid RTS experience, a strategy experience, now is a good time to jump in. And let's be honest, at the moment, there are some good strategy games on the PC, but not like they were in, say, the early 2000s and the 90s, at least in my opinion. So, it's good that there is a pretty solid one out there. Speaking of, well, RTS that's solid, we've got Age of Empires 2 HD Edition, which is actually a pretty decent price. It's $2.99 if you're paying in pounds. On the other hand, the dollar price is $3.99, so neither one of us particularly gets screwed up when you account for the differences in the pricing. You could also get like the Forgotten expansion, which is just like 79 pence more. And there is even a 4-pack of this and other bits and bobs as well. So, what do I think of this one? It's pretty good. The idea here mostly is that it's basically a remaster of the original Age of Empires 2. So, here's the deal. If you're interested in Age of Empires 2, and you had a solid memory and love for the game, you're probably going to like the remaster, but if you've not really played it, what you might find is that it's a little limited. It has its problems. It's great for LAN parties. It's fantastic if you're interested in, like, old school RTS, but for those who want, like, the shinier graphics and all of the other modern conveniences of RTS, you might be a little bit disappointed. I'm not saying it's bad. It is very solid. I'm not quite sure what the multiplayer community's like now, so you might want to do a bit of checking on that also. But it's not a bad game, and the fact of the matter is, for the price, it could well be worth it. Finally, I'm going to discuss a title that I'm not... Wait, I fail. I just realised there is one other game that I need to discuss, but we'll go with Banished first, anywho. As I actually thought it was the last one, but no, I just realised there's one others. Anyway, so Banished. It's actually a pretty good price, $5.99. That is Great British pounds. If you're paying in dollars, it's going to cost you $7.99. I'm not too familiar with this game, if I'm totally honest. It does get a very good review, and it's pretty positive on Metacritic, it's pretty positive on Steam. The idea, of course, is that, well, you're basically building a city. So, the bottom line is the engine looks pretty solid, gameplay looks pretty solid, and it's pretty modern as well. It's released in 2014, which is nice. As I said, curators rate this highly. Not too familiar with it myself. The PC specifications aren't that demanding either, so it could be a nice option if you are looking for a, how can I put this? If you're looking for kind of something to play on like a low power laptop and just kind of chill. The other benefit, from what I'm hearing, is it's got a pretty nice tutorial mode. It's good if you're just kind of trying to get into this type of game as well, from what I understand. So definitely give it a check out. Unfortunately, there isn't a demo, which is a bit of a shame. Anyway, Spin Tires is another title that I've not really personally tried, but I have done a bit of Googling around for you. It's available for $6.79, that's pounds. On the other hand, if you're paying in dollar prices, it's going to cost you $10.19, that's 66% off. This one actually sounds kind of cool, but a bit odd at the same time. The idea is that you are basically driving and I quote, because it's a bit weird, an all-terrain Soviet vehicles, and you basically want to kind of, well, explore maps, unlock various areas. It's a very odd game concept, but it could be kind of cool. General consensus in terms of reviews is it's pretty solid, and there has been a few murmurs of discontent from some in the community that have said that the updates have been a bit slow and the dev haven't been too awesome at communicating, but that seems to be the minority who are saying that, so I would recommend that you do some checking. But from what I can tell, the updates, I mean, there's a couple of updates just now. It's actually popping up, so it looks like it's pretty good. Obviously they are working on it and updating the title, which is pretty positive. Don't really know much about this one myself, if I'm totally honest, but the idea is really kind of cool. So I'd go ahead and check it out if you're interested in something that's a little bit different. I'm going to mention a couple of titles that I've played that could be cool. These are available for one day. I'm going to blast through them in no real order. Age of Amalur Reckoning, really cool third-party hack-and-slash type of game. Could be worth checking out. I covered it on the channel already, so go ahead and check out the video if you need more information. Max Payne 3, really good game, single player. Has a few bugs to the normal, oh god, I've flown into a wall and ragdoll physics problems, but it's quite nice title. Deus Ex, this is actually the Human Revolution Director's Cut. Also really good, $4.99. These are all US dollar prices. Amazing title. A lot of gameplay in there. I don't think it's quite lived up to, say, the original Deus Ex, but definitely worth it. Shadow Warrior, $3.99. If you're interested in just total old school carnage, you should definitely check this one out. First person FPS, very old school. Very much taking itself not too seriously, so kind of like Duke Nukem in that respect. Very cool, worth checking, plays really well, 60 FPS type of experience as well. Sniper Elite 3, when I played it, to be honest, there was an absolute bucket load of bugs, especially on the consoles. It was really just an odd experience, but I think they've patched most of the problems now. You could check it out. I don't think the storyline's anything unique, but it could be worth checking. I actually really like the zombies mode. Sniper Elite Zombies, if I'm totally honest. But anyway, 30% off, $25, which isn't too bad. And I'll also speak to you about Castlevania. They have Lords of Shadows 2, which is $7.99. Not bad at all. It has some problems with the platforming elements at times. The camera can be a bit of a pain. The combat isn't particularly unique, but it's pretty solid. I still think they should, to be honest with you, I still think they should just go to this Castlevania Symphony of the Night situation and just perfect that. The 2D combat just worked perfectly, and I'd really love a remaster of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, or just make Castlevania Symphony of the Night 2, and I know they've kind of done that with the storyline, but you know what I mean. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video and found it somewhat interesting. So to reiterate, Bioshock, pretty much a no-brainer to buy. Burial at Sea is 50-50. Wolfenstein, a really good purchase. Kerbal, once again, really good purchase. Shadow of Mordor, pretty damn good game. And the rest, well, are pretty much down to your taste, as you would imagine. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.